Merry Christmas, love, the Dodge family.
Hey guys, so for today's Vlogmas video, I wanted to bring you something a little bit different. This is probably more along the serious tone of things, but I actually got this inspiration from watching, I believe it was Shaylee and Baby's Snapchat Q&A. And somebody had snapped her and asked her, how do you deal with grief and the death of a loved one during the holiday season? And she had said she's never really had to deal with that, so she wasn't quite sure how to respond. And I thought, you know what, there probably are people out there who have walked a similar journey to the things that we've gone through. And I wanted to share my experience, my thoughts on how to deal with grief during the holiday season and the loss of a loved one, during this time of the year. So for those of you who are maybe new to our channel and haven't followed us for a long time, I will give you just a little bit of backstory before I get into my thoughts on this topic. So almost 3 years ago now, wow. My mom passed away in June of 2013. My mom was diagnosed with bile duct cancer in April of 2013, and bile duct cancer is a very rare but extremely aggressive form of cancer. Essentially, when you find out that you have it, you're already terminal and are at the end of your life before you show any type of symptoms, because basically what happens is there becomes the cancer fills in your bile duct, and once it completely closes, your body becomes jaundice, and it's just a trickle-down effect from there. And there's really nothing they can treat you with because you need to have a working bile duct in order to do chemotherapy and all this kind of thing. So I won't get into that, but I said that to say that my mom was diagnosed in April and she passed away in June. So it goes to show you just how quickly it all happened. And before we could even process her diagnosis, we were dealing with her death. So it was a very traumatic experience, as is anybody who deals with cancer and the death of a loved one. But my first thought initially, because my mom passed away in June, I remember thinking the day that she died that it was going to be 6 months from then would be Christmas, and how hard that was going to be. Immediately, my thoughts went to the holiday season and how would I live without my mom during the holiday season. So going back to the first holiday, it was very, very difficult. And I remember almost not being excited for Christmas because I wasn't quite sure how I was going to process my emotions and how I was going to deal with the holiday season. And as you guys know, I love Christmas. Christmas is it is my favorite time of year. It's my favorite holiday. It's just, I love everything about it. And so it was really emotional to deal with Christmas and deal with, having my first Christmas without my mom and all of those first. And as you walk the path of grief and dealing through those emotions, you go through all these different phases. And, at that point, 6 months in, I was still really raw in processing it all. And I remember the holidays almost feeling like the Band-Aid was ripped off again, because it made you hurt in ways that were brand new and something you hadn't experienced before. So as with most of us, our moms are an integral part of the holiday season. My mom always did certain things and made Christmas really special. And so it was very challenging going into the holiday season and trying to think of how I would deal with it. And again, if you haven't watched our channel for a long time, you know that I am one who, I don't like to be a victim. I don't like to allow what's happened in my life define me or ruin me in the sense of being detrimental in my life moving forward. And a lot of that has to do with my relationship with the Lord. Jesus is my best friend. He's my healer. He's my comforter. He's my peace. He's my joy. And in the darkest moments of my life, I felt his presence in a whole new way that's not that I needed reassurance, but reassured me in my faith and in who he is and his goodness and his faithfulness to see me through those times where I don't even know how to explain my emotions. And definitely that first Christmas season, I needed that. And it was a lot to deal with. And so I guess I wanted to say that if this is your first time dealing with the holiday season after losing a loved one. I want you to know that you're in my thoughts and that a lot of what you're feeling is really normal. I remember thinking, like, is it okay to cry because it's Christmas? Like, should I be crying? Should I be upset? And as you deal with grief, of course that's okay. Of course it's okay to cry and to feel and process all of those things. And my first Christmas season, we did a lot to honor my mom, to remember her, to incorporate her into our holiday season and incorporate her into our life. And if you've watched us for a while, you know that we do lots of things throughout the year to honor and remember my mom and to teach Emma and all of my nieces and nephews about her and her legacy and her life. And a couple of things that I did the first Christmas season was I got a piece of jewelry, I think I'll link the video here, that had a hand-stamped signature from my mom. And I think that that's something really important. Incorporate something into your Christmas gifts that will help you honor and remember them and start to really process that portion of it. And I feel like that was really significant for me to remember that my mom might not physically be here, but she's always here with me in my heart, in my spirit, that she's in heaven watching over us. And so I feel like that's a piece of advice I could give you, is to try and incorporate something into your holiday season that will bring a happy memory to that loved one that you may have lost. Another thing that we did is on Christmas Eve, we talked about my mom. We shed some tears, we cried. We had a couple moments where things were emotional, but it was necessary. It was necessary to have that moment to really acknowledge her, acknowledge the feelings that we all had, and remember her, because she is a part of what we do. She's a part of our life even now to this day. And so that's a really important thing. Don't like just try to push it all aside and not deal with it because it's hard. Incorporate it in a really beautiful and meaningful way into your holiday season. The third thing that we did that first Christmas that actually my husband did, I will put the link to our Christmas video for that. But something that he did that was incredibly sweet and thoughtful to me, and it's actually gonna make me tear up talking about it. That first Christmas, that Christmas morning, he had me open a card, and on the card it said Grandma, and he had purchased a Christmas card for my mom from Emma. And it was not something I expected. It was not something I anticipated, but it was just a really beautiful thing that he acknowledged, that he knows that I miss my mom, and that was something that was really hard. So I think that the more support you have in your life, and the more that you can talk about it openly with people who love you, who can just listen and be a sounding board, I think that will also help you deal with it in a really beautiful and meaningful way. So I hope that this video helps anybody who maybe doesn't quite know how to process the emotions of the first holiday. I hope you guys know that we love you, and if you're going through that, I'm here if you need someone to talk to. I'm definitely thinking of all of the people that have gone through this journey and walked through this journey, and I'm still walking through it. I'm still dealing with it. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm still grieving the loss of my mom, but I feel like throughout your entire life when you've lost somebody, you're always gonna have those moments where you have to reprocess the loss, and I definitely can handle it and deal with it in a different emotional way than I did previously. I can say that the hurt isn't so strong. The missing is always there, but the hurt isn't there, and that's a really good thing, because it's okay to miss somebody, and I can talk about her. And even just the other day, I said to my husband, we were driving home from Emma's dance recital, and I said, I really miss my mom. I really miss her, because she would have absolutely loved to have been there that day. And it's okay to have those moments, so don't beat yourself up over it. I know people externally have even said, like, oh, well, it's X amount of time, you should just be over it. And that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, because there's no getting over that. You're always gonna have those thoughts of that person not being a part of your activity or what you're doing or your holiday season. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be back tomorrow with another one, and we love you. Thanks for watching. So I'll edit. Emma will go to bed, then I'll take a shower and get ready, and then I'll come and edit upload, do all that fun stuff, and then I usually only get like a half hour